Welcome to Ignorance Unleashed with your host Salvatore Cavalieri. Step into Salvatore's bold and unapologetic take on today's news and its impact on real estate. In just 10 minutes, enjoy no-nonsense insights with a dash of humor and absurdity. Approved by his psychiatrist and wife because they agree he needs this outlet.
Hey. So today we're going to be talking about flippers, okay? And my dislike for that part of the business. I really don't consider that to be a viable business at all. Okay, so before I dispense my opinion, so I should give some background that why am I qualified to give opinions on these things? Well, all right, so let's start with that. Flippers. Basically, it is finding a property undervalue, or you negotiate really well a purchase price, because when you do real estate, you make the money on the buying, not on the selling, anyhow. So you negotiate really well and you get at an X price. Let's say $50,000, $60,000, what should be the price of the house if it is fully improved. So you buy this house, you modified it, okay, and then you put it back in the market to sell at a profit, okay, and then you have buyers that will pay for that. Okay, so basically a flipper is like short-term improvement of a property and sell it for, of course, for more than what you pay for. That pays for the purchase price plus all the expenses you're going to incur, which is basically the improvement of the property, changing the roof, the kitchen, etc., etc. But on top of that, there will be the closing cost, the holding cost of the property. Most likely, a lot of flippers, they use short-term loans, which can be priced in terms of interest, 10, 12% or more. Okay, and after the end of this transaction, you should have some kind of profit. Okay, so I have done flips myself, and I have done flips for my clients as well. And after you do the math, you will find out that after taxes and all the expenses, you end up probably with $15,000 to $20,000 on a regular home. Let's say you buy something that is in the $300,000 to $400,000 home, single family home. I have never flipped apartments or never flipped houses. It was always single family homes in neighborhoods that you have a lot of demand for it. Okay, they were not $1 million properties. They were not very low cost properties in neighborhoods that may be challenging. Okay, so that was the profit. After 6 months of heavy work, finding the property, negotiating, closing, getting the right contractor, because flips, you don't find them in in your backyard. In order to be a successful flipper, you need to move around. The flips are in extensive areas, so you may be let's pick a city. You may be in in South Florida, but maybe the flip shows up in Orlando or vice versa, so you need to move around in order to make this happen. Okay, and that brings another set of complications, which is your team that is around. What is the agent who's going to promote this once it's done? What is your improvement crew? If you have an improvement crew in Weston, are they going to go all the way to Orlando? Doubt it, because commute time will kill any profits or will damage a lot of the profits. So you have a lot of things going on in order to make this viable. Just to give you a perspective, if I will be getting, let's say, $10 for every call I get from a flipper out of the blue calling me desperate to get a property, I will be making easily on a monthly basis, I would say, $5,000, $6,000 if everyone will give me $10, just to give you an idea of the volume of the call, the text, and things like that, because the flippers are all over the place. But actually, there are a bunch of gurus out there teaching people how to flip, and also a lot of people have been starstruck by looking at the TV shows that show you this guy's buying this property for $300,000, putting $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, and then making $500,000 or more. A lot of that is fiction, really. It's like watching Star Wars. Finding a flip, finding a property, since there is so many people looking for it, it is very unlikely. So I get these phone calls, especially from people from Latin America, that they are watching the shows and things like that. They say, hey, Salvatore, help me find these flips. And I say, well, sure, but once I find them, why should I give them to you? Really? And I tell them that, but they don't like it, and I don't care, okay? Because you have to have a big pair of balls when you say stuff, Says, sorry if I'm very blunt, but there is a long line of people out there that want to do exactly the same thing. And if I find a flip that I'm going to make some money, I'm going to pitch it to the people that are faithful to me, that have been with me for years, rather than you that just came out of the blue. I had a very bad experience with a flipper. This flipper had a very particular way to get to know real estate agents. The guy, who in reality was a flipper, but he promoted himself as a very, very, very low-cost photographer. Okay? So he will promote and he will do the exterior pictures, excellent camera, excellent lighting, and also the drone pictures. Back then, doing drone pictures from above and all that, it was coming up. So it was more expensive. If you contracted a regular company that do the pictures, we will charge you extra just for that. Okay, now prices come down, etc., more competition, and now drones, you can buy them anywhere, actually, a drone nowadays. But anyway, so this guy, he would do that. So I said, hey, look. So this guy, I am based, mostly in Orlando, but I also have done things we continue to do things in South Florida. And I said, hey, look, I have a property in South Florida. We need to take pictures. He went there for the same price. But in exchange, this is what making the pact with the devil. I failed after I learned it. But in exchange, he wanted me to give him all the information regarding flips that will come through my desk or opportunities that come to my desk. Well, so I did. Okay, so I felt very grateful. He was taking amazing pictures with videos and stuff like that, way more stuff that I really needed. He did it. I have to say his technique was sharp. So he said, hey, I'm also a flipper. Oh, okay, good. I didn't know. Help me find properties. And I'm based in Central Florida. Okay, fine. Let me help you with that. You help me with the pictures, I help you with the properties. I didn't want to do flips in reality. I find them just the margin is so thin in a regular home of $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 that just the profit is going to go through pay taxes, because a lot of the flippers, they forget they need to pay they need to pay income taxes to Uncle Sam, and that's where they get slammed. So I have a lot of stories about flipping, and which I will be sharing in other videos. But in this particular one, for this photographer, he says, hey, let me show you my work. So I went to see his flips here in Orlando, and he was doing like 3 houses per day. He was big, actually. He was doing very well for a flipper. No, I've seen flippers that they do more, and actually now they're coaches trying to teach some strange way to buy stuff without money down, stuff like that. That kind of things really make me think about it. Really, what are you promoting here? Anyway, but there are a bunch of them going through the internet and probably showing up in your Facebook, stuff like that, they were flippers, but then finding the property is the hardest part of this thing, and they're not finding it. So now it says, well, I know how to flip. I'm gonna package this really nice in a system, and I want to sell it to you, the dumbass who is watching this thing, because they need to make a quick money because the shiny stuff is great. Okay, so I went to see his properties, and my first comment was that it was some of the work being done, it was kind of a really nice a makeup artist. Because sadly, people, when they go and buy something, they look at what they see, the pretty stuff, but they don't look behind. And some of the stuff that we're doing, it was just putting makeup on a pig, nice glossy lipstick. Those lipsticks were like this of this piggy, because they were going to sell it more. So it was kind of, okay, look, I know a little bit about construction. Those two buildings were fully renovated. I did this with partners, of course, 38 units, and the other one was 21 units. So we have done major renewal of large properties. This one was 38, which we turned into a condo conversion. It was a very bad shape, this property. So I'm talking with some knowledge of what I'm saying. And the same thing with that one. Actually, this one, by the way, won the best improvement for Hallandale Beach. So anybody that says that Salvatore doesn't say how to do flips or how to fix stuff, if I didn't know it, I will hire the best. Okay? So anyhow, so I looked at how they were putting makeup on the piggy, and I said, well, okay, I didn't say anything. I don't actually think they mentioned something, but the guy flew me off. So we found a property. I said, hey, look, when you want to buy this? And he says, yeah, I'm going to buy it. So then he started with the nicking and life. I'm going to buy it. It was already base discounted. The house didn't need much work, maybe new roof. Back then was cheap and needed some interior stuff. At the most, $30,000, I would say. At the most. Okay. Lovely neighborhood. It was in a cul-de-sac. Very nice schools around the corner. This is in the area of Winter Springs in Central Florida. And then he said, you need to discount this, you need to tell them this, because my margin is this. So a bunch of expenses, okay, that he wanted to discount. I presented, and I didn't hear anything. I presented follow-up, didn't hear much. I'm talking 1 day, 2 days, and then I said, hey, look, because I mentioned that earlier in my conversation with him, and he was okay. They said, look, 5 houses that I found you need to help me to list them. Oh, yes, I want to tell you that, but I only list with my real estate agents for 1%. Oh, 1%. Very good. But, of course, he wanted so low the price that, of course, he lost the house. Someone else bought it, fixed it, and made a very nice profit. So being so greedy cost him money. And not only that, cost me too. Because after that, I never call him again. He called me several times and here and there, I want to do this and do that. And I didn't even pick up the phone. I didn't care. So a lot of the flippers, they want to make the money on top of real estate agents. And they are like little, they're not faithful to anyone. And I understand why. They need to get business all over the place. So they call all the agents. They send text. Hey, look, let's do this, like that. Find me a property and this and that. Hey, that is a business that is uncertain, to say the least. The property finding the subject is extremely hard. And on top of that, I don't work with flippers because you guys, you're not very faithful. You're not very thorough in the job you do. Actually, I've been in situations, I'm expanding a little bit, I'm being in situations where I've been showing property to buyers. And one of the questions the buyer asked me is, was this remodeled by the previous owner who lived in the property and cared for the property, or just for a flipper that just wanted to put some makeup and nice lipstick into this pig, and try to sell it for as much as possible with little regard for quality? So flippers out there, you created your own fame and your own fate. And people, you can fool them once, but you cannot fool them twice. So a lot of buyers do not want to buy, properties from flippers. And by the way, agents out there, you should help your buyers if they're buying really something that is really solid purchase, meaning that the property has the value that they're asking for. Request a solid inspection, and negotiate it properly. But some of the flippers, they're just into this game of producing, getting a house and getting them out to sell because they have a crew that's right there waiting for the next thing and all that stuff. So flippers, really, don't call me. And have a nice life. Pay your taxes too. Bye-bye.